Yeah, thank you. And likewise, thank y'all so much for joining us. I know it's still a very different time, although we all should be masters at the Zoom calls now. We did a lot of home visits through Zoom, so we're getting pretty good at it. But you know what a unique signing class. Just a few months ago, we had no idea if we were going to be able to sign a class, and if we were allowed, we had no idea how many or how few. So the ability for us to sign a full class is unbelievable. So it's more of a special class than it ever has been because we ended up signing a total of 27 players. That's 3 mid-years that are currently on campus right now that were 4-year transfers, and then 24 high school student athletes will be joining us in August. So really this would not have been possible without everybody's hard work, the administrators, the community, and obviously my coaching staff. So a big thanks to everyone involved with that. We ended up signing, 16 players from the state of Georgia and 10 players from Florida. So, kind of a good balance right there of some Georgia and Florida players that are joining us. And then we hit some of our primary needs. Like always, offensive line is something that we are always trying to make sure we got plenty of. They're very hard to recruit and find because everybody in the country wants the same thing there. We also did a great job. Got 2 great quarterbacks in this class. We've got 5 DBs. We really thought in the secondary we were very thin. So, adding 5 defensive backs to this class was very important to us. And 2 linebackers, 2 running backs. So really we're fortunate because we signed somebody at every single position. With that being said, I couldn't be more excited about this class because of, all of the obvious, especially due to the COVID and the restrictions that we had during this recruiting process. So with that being said, I can kind of pause right there and answer any questions anybody has.
Yeah, about the I don't want to speak out of turn. I was trying to look for the raise your hand part. What'd you say that was?
It's in the reaction, but you're good to go.
Reactions. Okay. Yeah, my question was just about Rogan Wells' decision to transfer.
Yeah.
How would you say that's going to impact VSU's passing game this next season?
Honestly, I don't think it will impact it. I've said this already. Rogan is a great young man and a great player. There's no doubt about that. We're pretty fortunate because we got Ivory Durham that's been sitting here chomping at the bits, waiting his turn. Well, his turn just came a year earlier than what we all anticipated, but that's okay. Things happen. Things happen for a reason. But Ivory's got a really strong arm, and he can pretty much make any throw on the field. So I am not going to change the offense. We're going to be who we are, and I have all the confidence in the world that Ivory can do the same exact thing that Rogan did. What Rogan was great at, and I think we've all watched him over the years, is managing a game, and he never turned the ball over. He protected the ball, and he was a clutch player. And we're going to have to give Ivory the same type of tools and coaching to get out there and do the same exact thing. If he does that, we'll have another quarterback on our campus that is one of the best players in D2 football.
Yes, sir. And I think you answered my next question. I was just going to ask who's the front runner right now to replace Rogan. So you would say Ivory.
I'll go ahead and say it. It is Ivory Durham.
Ivory Durham.
That's a no-brainer there. So he's put in his time. And he played limited his freshman year. He played limited as a backup last year in different roles. And he's worked extremely hard in the off season. So he's earned this. I've had some great talks with him, and to be honest, the young man has done a phenomenal job these last 3 weeks. I have seen more players out there working on their own and doing 7-on-7, and him holding player meetings in the classroom. I don't know if I've had very many quarterbacks that have done that on their own. So he's pretty excited. The team's pretty excited and has rallied behind him, and therefore it's got the coaching staff extremely excited too.
Yes, sir. Yeah, that's all the questions I had for you at this time.
Okay.
I will go over to Allison.
Hey, Coach. I guess just, I know when I spoke with you back in November, you didn't even know what was going to happen with signing day because you guys had zero money to spend. I know things changed. You know, we do have a signing class, just feeling fortunate, you know, that this was able to happen today. I mean, just the emotions, I'm sure, have been a roller coaster over these last couple of weeks for you guys.
Well, I mean, it's been really exciting. You know, I can say that the administrators here on campus and the community really helped us sign this class. And you can read between the lines there. I mean, we didn't think we could sign a class. We really didn't. But, you know, everybody found a way. So ecstatic about that. You know, but this recruiting cycle has just been a roller coaster ride still because, you know, we can only sign so many. And then there's so many high school athletes out there who aren't getting a chance to sign today that normally would be. So we're talking to those coaches as well that might not understand, well, we can't believe y'all not looking at this young man. But even our roster spots, I mean, we're not going to be allowed to take that many PWOs, preferred walk-ons. So, you know, as exciting as it is, and we are thankful, it's been just as hard talking to some high school coaches and some families like, hey, we don't really have a spot right now, you know. And we still got time, right? I mean, as crazy as this football world's gotten, we know with the transfer portal and all that stuff that rosters could continue to change. You know, we have no idea on that. So, you know, unfortunately, we'll probably be recruiting all the way up to camp. That's just going to be the way of life, I guess, now for college football.
All right, we'll go over to Kyle.
Hey, Coach. Just wanted to go back to, I know you talked about, you know, just the balance of this class and, you know, what you've been able to bring in, filling a need at, you know, filling in a guy at every position. How important is that for you guys to be able to certainly fill in those spots of need and to be able to cover both sides of the ball and to almost make that a luxury for even the positions that maybe necessarily weren't your weakest spots, but to make sure that, you know, those needs were filled and that you're able to go into camp as ready and in that as position, I guess, as well suited as you want to be.
Yeah, you know, if you go back and look at signing classes, you know, the way it works is when you have some people that are graduating in that position, it frees up some scholarship dollars, and you go out and try to recruit somebody to come in and use that scholarship dollars in that position. You know, with this class here, we went into it, you know, trying to find some good players at every single position, and that was actually pretty easy just because there's not very many scholarships out there right now. Be honest with you, we kind of went into this thinking, all right, we're probably going to look to sign 15, 16 players. And as we got into it, we just saw that we're having an opportunity to gobble up a lot of very good players because, you know, even your D1s, your FCS schools are not signing a very big class. So that's why we stretched it to our, you know, 24 high school guys because, you know, we just didn't want to pass on some really good players. But I think you always got to address the offensive line position. Again, that's a position that you got to develop those young men. It takes them a year or 2 years to kind of get in here and get strong enough to really get in the trenches and battle. So you're always trying to get as many offensive linemen as you can. D-line, very, very similar. We got some mid-years last year on the D-line, so we feel like we're pretty good shape right there, but still went out and signed, you know, 3 really good high school guys there. DBs was one where, you know, we had a couple of grad transfers in here set to play in the 20 season. And then when COVID hit, it was kind of like we had some conversations with a couple of them that, Coach, I think I'm going to go about my way. I just don't know if I want to stay in school for another year and a half. So in this class, you see us going out and getting 5 defensive backs. And I think 5 defensive backs that could play at a lot of different places. They're really, really talented. You know, so, you know, I think we got a good balance with this class. You know, and this was a class where, you know, we, again, had a lot of people coming to us and, you know, looking for opportunities. So we kind of took our time. I don't know how closely y'all follow social media and who's offered what. You know, I bet we didn't throw out that many offers until towards the end of November, beginning of December. And we were even getting phone calls in from coaches. Coach, are y'all even going to sign a class? I don't know. You know, so we were very slow to offer and very selective. But I'm very excited of the talent we're able to get.
Okay, we'll go back to Allison.
I guess I have two questions. Feeding off of that one, with the, I guess, lack of flexibility at the D1 level, you mentioned that you were able to kind of get some guys that you might not otherwise been able to. Was that almost a blessing in disguise in this recruiting cycle? And then my second question, locally, I mean, you guys always recruit locally, but I went, I think, to 3 different signings today and had 3 Valdosta State players to interview. Was that even more focused this year, given the pandemic, kind of scouting guys that knew what you guys were about already?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the D1, that definitely was a blessing. That's why we went from a class of about 15 to 16 to 24 high school players. Absolutely. And then, as far as locally, I'll be honest with you, we had 3 other local young men that we wanted really bad, but they got the D1 offers, and that's part of recruiting. That's going to happen, and we understand that and wish them well. But yeah, this year there was a lot of really good talent right here in our backyard. And if you think of it this way, the Division I schools, I mean, they have not been on campuses in going on a year. So they did not get their eyes on some of these juniors last year that are about to become seniors. So I do think there was probably some guys that slipped through the cracks, and then that's what we're here for. We got to be good at that. We got to get those guys. So we got some really good guys from right here in our backyard that we're really excited about. In a normal year, we might have been in a dogfight for some of those guys.
Okay, we'll send it back to Kyle now.
Coach, you maybe looking ahead just a tiny bit here, but you talked about, just the fact that in person, you haven't been able to get the eyes on a lot of these guys that you haven't been able to see. And, that just comes with, COVID and everything. But, we've talked even a month ago about just how ready, you guys are for spring and to get the guys out there to see them in action and kind of get that foot forward on for 2021. Does a day like this kind of excite you, obviously, even a little bit more so of how ready you are to see these young guys get out on the field and, play some Blazer football and, you get to see those eyes on them and see where this direction is going with these guys?
No, absolutely. I mean, I thought, the class last year coming in, it was almost all those guys were here in the summer during voluntary workouts. And then we felt like last year our signing class was very, very talented as well. If I remember, I signed around 34 last year. Well, kind of the bad for those guys, they didn't get to experience a season, right? But let's be honest, a lot of freshmen, they usually redshirt. It's hard to play here as a true freshman like it is everywhere else. But one thing that group benefited from is, they practiced in the fall and ran plays. They were not on scout teams, so they were learning our schemes offensively, defensively, and special teams. This class coming in, I hope they don't get that luxury. I hope we have a normal season next year. But I do think the freshmen from that last year are a step ahead because of that. But these young men that we brought in today, I do think we're going to have 4 or 5 of these guys that will be able to contribute as a freshman. And you don't see a lot of that, but, there's some areas that, we can go ahead and talk about the quarterback room again. We're going to lean on somebody who's coming in here, and somebody's got to be our backup, right? Somebody's got to come in here and compete for the job. So there's going to be some guys in this signing class that you will see, on the field next year.
All right, we'll go for Shane.
Hey, Coach. Just wanted to ask you about last time me and you spoke, it was after the fall camp, and you had a young back in Kahari McCoy who really stood out, and you talked about adding a couple players at that position. You also have a couple veterans coming back. How well do you feel like that running back position, along with supplementing that O-line, will pay off for you as you get into spring and into the season?
Yeah, Shane, it's kind of funny you asked that because, yesterday we finally got a chance to kind of sit down and start working on our practice plans and stuff starting on February 17th, we start spring ball. So it's been a while since I sat down and watched our cut-ups. And obviously I hadn't seen our guys play in a game, since a year ago. And as we started watching some of our run tapes, I stopped and I go, goodness gracious. I forget how good Jamar Tompkins and Seth McGill really are, because every clip, and this we didn't sort it by our good plays or bad plays, right? But every clip, one of those guys is running for 10, 15. A good play for the defense, those guys are still falling for 4 yards. So again, very fortunate that we got those two guys on our team here because they're two great players. But you also got to start developing that next wave of guys. So we got some young guys that redshirted last year that, they'll contribute without a doubt. I feel like you got to go into a season with 3 backs, and hope everybody stays healthy. The 2 young men we signed today, one of them could have gone to Army in a heartbeat. We fought with him or on him all the way up until last week. And then he was like, Coach, I want to come be a Blazer. And the other one, was dropped by Division I school 3 weeks ago. So we got 2 more running backs to add to that room that are both very, very capable. But this recruiting class, it's kind of like we saw so much great talent. We didn't want to let anybody go or pass on anybody. So we'll find places for all these really good athletes to play. We'll worry about that later.
Thanks, Coach.
I will go to Kyle now.
Coach, I think back to that consistent conversation that I feel like just keeps being brought up of, there's only so many spots and there's only so many guys that you can take in. I guess, for you, Coach, being a head coach, what is your message to some of those high school guys that maybe even for next year's class or for some of those guys that, are thinking, that this could be an issue and even a year down the road? What would you say to a guy like that, where that worry comes in as to whether or not, some of those scholarships are still not going to be as available as they are like kind of this year and what goes into that?
You talking about for just future recruits? Yeah.
Just kind of in case, this happens again, or we still have some of those lingering issues and things.
Well, I do believe if you want to play college football, there's a school for you. If that's what you want to do, there's a school for you. I'm a former walk-on here at Valdosta State and earned a scholarship after my first year. Did I have dreams if I wanted to play at Georgia or whatnot? Yeah, but I also knew my limitations. So I think everybody's got to be honest with themselves about, all right, what level of ball can I play? But if you want to play college football, there's a home for you. You might end up being a preferred walk-on and having to earn it, but there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that at all. A lot of people do that. But we have run across some people that no, I'm only going for full rides. I'm only going for Division I, and that's fine too. That's their decision. But for the upcoming recruits, they just can't stress about that. I mean, there's some things out of their control and obviously out of every university's control when it comes to what we've been dealing with. But they gotta do like we tell our team. Hey, just work hard one day at a time and don't worry about what's going to happen 3-4 months down the road. Just be the best you can be one day at a time, and doors will open for you, because we don't know what the future holds as far as our recruiting budget for 22, or are we going to get out of this pandemic and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's a challenge. I'm going to be on the other side of that here real soon. My son is going to be a junior and he plays football here in the local high school. So I'm just as concerned as a parent. Oh my gosh, is he going to have an opportunity to go play somewhere if we're still, budgets are really tight? But my advice to them is don't panic about that. Just keep working hard. If they allow camps this summer, get to camps. I think that did hurt this signing class because, again, I mean, there's millions of athletes that didn't go to camps over the summer that are usually seen by recruiters on different campuses. So, I do hurt for the guys that typically would have signed today but didn't. But there's a place for them. They just got to keep working hard.
Any final questions from anyone? All good. All right, that'll conclude the 2021 Valdosta State Football National Signing Day press conference. Once again,
I do have one thing. Just it's not a question; it's more of a clarification. Do you have anybody that's enrolled early or is coming to campus early? Do you have anybody that y'all recruited?
Yeah, we had 3 transfers that were on campus in mid-year, so they're here right now. So we had I don't know if you're on the website or not, but we have a transfer receiver, Antoine Dixon. He played at Kent State. He caught 117 balls at Kent State. Pretty electric young man. He's got a really good story. He had a rare blood disease at one point during college and sat out a year for that, but extremely hard worker and can flat out fly. So you will see him on the field immediately. Then we had Jeremiah Campbell. Jeremiah Campbell played for me at Tiffin University. I've known him since he was in the 10th grade. He's a grad transfer. Jeremiah is 6'6", 330, and I'm hoping he slides right into Brandon Kemp's spot as a left tackle. Okay, but a good player there. And then we had Najee Baker. Najee Baker is a transfer from Toledo. Okay, he's only a redshirt freshman up there. He actually played for them this season. Didn't get very much playing time or whatnot. We knew about him 2 years ago. He's from South Dade, but another receiver that can just fly. And we'll continue. Like I mentioned earlier, the portal is going to continue to get crazier and crazier. We'll continue recruiting and looking for the right 2 or 3 pieces left that we need.
All right, with that, that'll conclude the 2021 Valdosta State Football National Signing Day. Again, I'd like to thank you all for being here. I'd like to thank Coach Goff and his staff for making today possible, everyone else who has made today possible, and congratulations to all of the new Blazers.
Thank y'all. I appreciate y'all.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Thanks, Coach.